we've come across evidence that shows that even her own representatives knew that she was threatening and mean and tough and wanted to get her way. This is not something that we wanted out there. It's not something that Justin wanted out there. In fact, it hurts the movie. It doesn't help the movie.
My favorite part of what I've read of this suit so far is that Blake Lively did not even read the book that the movie was based on.
Correct.
And we're not talking War and Peace. This is a book that's probably written at a second grade reading level.
Yeah.
Oh, Hollywood, baby. Just when you think you've seen it all, the drama finds a way to get even wilder. Because this time, it's not just headlines, rumors, or messy interviews. This time, people are actually asking a shocking question. What if Blake Lively, yes, that Blake Lively, could end up behind bars? And the craziest part? This whole conversation exploded after Megyn Kelly stepped in and broke it all down in a way that made people stop, rewind, and listen twice. Now suddenly, what felt like celebrity gossip is starting to sound like something much more serious. So what really happened? And how did we go from a movie adaptation to whispers of jail time? Let's get into it, because trust me, this story takes turns you won't expect.
I'm a man, and this is a story that is told through the lens of a woman. And especially when it relates to intimacy scenes and to scenes where there is a mix of intimacy and violence, I wanted to make sure that those scenes had a female gaze. As much as I can try to see the world as a woman, I never will be able to.
Just a short while ago, everything looked perfect. A best-selling novel, a loyal fan base, a Hollywood adaptation that people had been waiting for. The project had all the right pieces. A strong emotional story, a director known for heartfelt work, and a leading actress with star power, charm, and influence.
Are you going to sue Blake Lively too?
Into oblivion, Megyn. And we're carefully considering other people that will be sued also. And some of
Ryan
it will come
Reynolds?
as a surprise. Ryan Reynolds, for sure.
Oh, wow.
Blake Lively wasn't just cast, she was the face of the film. Fans were excited. Social media was buzzing. Everything felt like it was heading toward a massive success. But behind the scenes, things weren't as smooth as they looked. At first, it was quiet, subtle. Small disagreements, creative differences, nothing unusual for Hollywood. But here's the twist. Those small issues didn't stay small. They started growing and growing until suddenly they weren't just creative disagreements anymore. They became something much bigger, something legal. And that's when everything changed. It started with tension over the direction of the film. Some reports claimed there were disagreements about tone. The original story? Deep, emotional, heavy. But according to whispers from inside the project, there were attempts to shift that tone. Add humor, lighten moments, make it more modern. Now, on the surface, that doesn't sound like a big deal. Movies get rewritten all the time. But this wasn't just about rewriting scenes. This was about control. Who gets the final say? Who shapes the story? And who takes responsibility when things go wrong? That's where things got messy. Very messy. Because soon, the disagreements weren't just happening behind closed doors. They started leaking out. And once the public got a hint of what was going on, the internet did what it always does. It exploded. Fans started noticing changes. Photos from the set didn't match the emotional tone they expected. The vibe felt different, lighter, flashier, almost like a completely different genre. And people began asking questions. Is this really the same story? Why does it feel like something's off? But what nobody expected was what came next. Because instead of calming things down, the situation escalated fast. Suddenly there were claims, then counterclaims, and then a lawsuit. A massive one. Hundreds of millions of dollars on the line. Now we're no longer talking about a movie. We're talking about reputations, careers, and possibly legal consequences that go way beyond money.
And this is where Megyn Kelly enters the story. When she started discussing the situation, people paid attention because she didn't treat it like gossip. She treated it like something serious, something that needed to be looked at closely. And what she pointed out made a lot of people uncomfortable. She talked about the legal side, the risks, the consequences. And one word started coming up again and again: perjury. Now, that's not a small word. That's not celebrity drama. That's criminal. And that's when the tone of the conversation changed completely.
Because here's the thing. If someone is involved in a legal dispute and they misrepresent facts or provide false information under oath, that's not just a mistake. That's a crime. And depending on the situation, it can carry serious penalties. We're talking fines, we're talking career damage, and yes, we're talking possible jail time. Now, let's be clear. At this stage, a lot of this is still based on allegations, speculation, and ongoing legal tension. Nothing is confirmed in a final legal sense. But the fact that this conversation is even happening, that alone says everything about how intense this situation has become. And that's when everything started spiraling. Because once the word jail enters the conversation, there's no going back. Every headline gets louder. Every rumor feels heavier. Every detail becomes more important. And people start picking sides. Some believe Blake Lively is being unfairly targeted, that she's caught in a power struggle, that this is Hollywood politics at its worst. Others, they think there's more to the story, that maybe, just maybe, something went too far, that decisions were made that are now coming back in a way nobody expected.
And then more layers started coming out. Reports about behind-the-scenes behavior, disagreements over creative control, conflicting versions of what actually happened. And that's where things get complicated. Because in situations like this, truth isn't always simple. It's messy, it's layered, and sometimes it depends on who's telling the story. But here's the twist that really shook people. The idea that this whole situation might not just end in a settlement, that it might not just be about money, that it could actually cross into criminal territory. That's what made people stop scrolling. That's what made people pay attention. Because celebrity drama is one thing, but the possibility of real legal consequences, that's something else entirely. And while all of this is happening, the film itself, it's stuck, frozen, caught in the middle of a storm it can't escape. Investors are nervous. Studios are cautious. Marketing teams don't even know what to say anymore. Because how do you promote a story about love and healing when the real-life narrative is full of conflict, accusations, and legal tension? It doesn't work. It just doesn't. And then there's the public image. Because for someone like Blake Lively, this isn't just about one project. This is about everything. Her reputation, her career, her future roles, the way people see her. And that's where the emotional impact really hits. Because no matter what side you're on, situations like this leave marks. Deep ones.
Think about it.
One moment, you're at the top, successful, respected, admired. And the next, your name is tied to controversy, to legal discussions, to headlines that don't go away. That kind of shift, it's not easy. It's not something you can just ignore. And it affects more than just one person. It affects relationships. It affects trust. It affects how people interact with you, both inside and outside the industry. And that's what makes this story so powerful. Because underneath all the drama, there's something real. There's pressure. There's expectation. There's the weight of being in the spotlight, where every move is watched, analyzed, and judged. And when something goes wrong, it doesn't stay private. It becomes public. Very public. Now, as things continue to unfold, nobody really knows how this will end. Will it settle quietly behind closed doors? Will the legal battle continue? Will the truth come out clearly? Or will it remain complicated and divided? And the biggest question of all, will any of this actually lead to serious legal consequences? Right now, there are no final answers. Only possibilities. Only speculation. Only a story that keeps evolving. But one thing is certain. This situation has already changed everything. The way people see the film, the way people see the people involved, and the way Hollywood stories unfold in real time. Because this isn't just about a movie anymore. It's about power, control, reputation, and the fine line between public image and legal reality. And maybe that's the real lesson here. In Hollywood, things can look perfect on the outside. But behind the scenes, they can be complicated, fragile, and sometimes dangerously close to falling apart.
So now I want to ask you, what do you think? Is this situation being blown out of proportion? Or is there something deeper going on that we're only starting to understand? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this story, it's far from over. And something tells me the next twist is going to be even bigger.